Aries, have you ever wondered when will this hell finally end? When everything you try falls apart, when every door seems to close at once, and you start to ask yourself, is the universe punishing me or trying to tell me something? Sometimes the strongest souls aren't tested because of karma, but because of destiny. They were born to walk through the darkness and bring the light back home. Tonight, come with me on that journey, not to search for answers, but to listen to the quiet voice within you. Because sometimes when life stops moving, it isn't the end, it's the sacred pause, right before you're reborn. There are days when you wake up and your heart feels heavy, as if the world has stopped turning. The things that used to flow easily now feel stuck somewhere. Everything you once touched, your work, your relationships, your dreams, seems to stand still, suspended in quiet air. You try, you pray, you search for answers, but the universe stays silent. That silence is where confusion begins. Because Aries, you were born to move, to act, to burn through limits. But one day even your fire is covered by a mist of stillness, and you don't understand why. If you're in that place right now, don't be afraid. Sometimes life doesn't stop to punish you, it stops to hold you still, to keep you from running so you can finally see. In Buddhist wisdom, when one door closes, it isn't the end. It's an invitation to look deeper inward. When water stops rushing, it becomes clear. It reflects the sky more purely. Life works the same way. When the current pauses, it's asking you to notice what you've been too busy to feel. I've lived through those pauses. When my work fell apart, when the people I loved walked away, when everything I thought defined me disappeared. At first, I resisted. I thought silence meant emptiness, loss, failure. But one quiet morning, I realized something. Silence isn't nothingness. It's a doorway. It's the place where all beginnings are born, because only when you stop running can you hear the whisper of your own soul. That voice, soft as a breath, can change an entire life. Aries, let yourself stop for a moment. Don't rush to fix everything. Don't panic if you don't know where to go next. In this stillness, your energy is being renewed. The universe is quietly rearranging the flow for you, and sometimes the only work you need to do is breathe. Feel your heartbeat, slow, steady, like the drum of life itself. Time hasn't left you behind. It's simply waiting for you to fall back into rhythm. When you sit in stillness, light begins to slip through the smallest cracks in your soul. You start to see what looked like an ending was only the beginning of a new chapter, where a softer light is waiting to be seen. Even fire needs rest, or it burns itself out. And you, child of fire, you too need space to breathe, to cool, to understand that true strength isn't in burning, it's in keeping the flame alive even in the dark. If you're hearing these words right now, perhaps the universe is sending you a message. Slow down. Don't rush to label this moment as lost. You're not stuck. You're standing in something sacred, the stillness before rebirth. And when you stay quiet long enough to listen, you'll realize nothing has truly stopped. Everything is still moving, just in a gentler rhythm. A slower, deeper, kinder rhythm, so that you can enter the next chapter of your life with a lighter heart, a clearer soul, and a brighter flame, because this silence, Aries, is not the end. It's the universe's first invitation to begin your cleansing. Sometimes we don't realize we're living among things that have already died. Old notebooks we never open, objects we keep just in case we might need them someday, unread messages we never delete. All of them are invisible threads quietly tying us to the past. Aries, when your life feels stuck, when the energy around you stops flowing, take a moment to look around. You might discover you're living inside old memories without even knowing it. In Buddhist wisdom, there's a simple but profound truth. Form is emptiness. Everything physical is only temporary. Every object carries energy, a piece of emotion, a fragment of memory. When you refuse to release it, it cannot leave. And when you hold on, your heart stays anchored to what's already gone. Have you noticed? Some rooms look tidy yet feel heavy. Certain corners of your home drain your energy every time you pass by. That's because the old energy is still there, whispering stories that have already expired. But when you start touching each item, each drawer, and gently ask, "Does this still bring me joy?" You're performing a sacred ritual not just for your home but for your soul. Start small. A shirt you haven't worn in a year, a bottle of perfume that reminds you of someone who's gone, a note from the person you no longer are. When you let go, don't think of it as losing. Think of it as returning energy to the universe. And the universe, in its quiet wisdom, will hear you say, "I'm ready for something new." Every time you delete a photo that still stings, your energy softens. Every time you wipe the dust off a surface, your spirit shines a little brighter. Bit by bit, the heaviness dissolves like smoke, and you find yourself breathing easier, walking slower but deeper. Don't see cleaning as a chore. See it as meditation. Because in every small motion, you're teaching your heart how to release. You're not just clearing a room, you're opening the door for light to enter. And one day you'll realize, you haven't just changed your space, you've changed your vibration. Your way of living. Aries, you are the child of fire. You know how to begin. You know how to act. But today, Mars, your ruling planet, is teaching you a new kind of action. The action of letting go. Not doing more but carrying less. Not proving but purifying. Each time you release something, you're telling life, I trust. I trust that what's meant for me will arrive. I trust that empty spaces are not dangerous. Because only in emptiness can something new be born. Try it tonight. Clean one small corner, maybe your desk, maybe your phone, maybe just one old message you've kept but never read. Then tomorrow, sit still for a moment. You'll feel your energy like warm water beginning to flow again. Not loud, not fast, just quietly returning to life. When we cleanse our space, we make room for light. And that light doesn't just fill the room, it reflects inward, into the heart still holding what it's not ready to release. Because no matter how clean your home may be, the messiest place will always be inside, where memories still linger, where words were left unsaid, where the old pain still whispers in the dark. And when your heart begins to stir again, you'll realize the next step isn't about cleaning your room anymore. It's about freeing your emotions, so your heart can finally breathe, like a house that's just opened its windows to the first wind of spring. There's a kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from work or from other people, but from the things we still refuse to let go of. Sometimes we think we've moved on, that we've healed, that the past is finally behind us. But then, one sentence, one look, one old song, and suddenly the whole sky of memory collapses inside the heart. Aries, you are the symbol of strength, of movement, of willpower that pushes forward. But because you live through fire, you also know how to hide your pain better than anyone. You're used to standing up after every fall, so you rarely allow yourself to cry. You believe that if you just keep walking, the sadness will eventually fade. But no, what we bury deep never disappears, it only waits, like ashes still warm beneath the cold coals. Hell isn't a place outside of you. It lives inside the corners you refuse to face, where the tears have never been shed, where the apologies were never spoken, where the wounds were only covered, never healed. Forgiveness is not forgetting. Forgiveness is when you can touch a memory and your heart no longer trembles. And you don't do it for anyone else. You do it for yourself, for the soul that's tired of carrying the past for too long. In Buddhist teaching, they call those tears the meditation water of the heart. Each drop that falls is not weakness, it's cleansing. It washes away layers of anger, guilt, regret, until what remains is clarity. If you haven't cried in a long time, let yourself cry just once. You don't need anyone to comfort you. You don't need anyone to see, just you and yourself meeting again, after years of avoidance. When I learned how to forgive, I didn't lose my strength. I simply realized how much unnecessary weight I'd been holding. Forgiveness made me lighter, not because they deserved it, but because I deserved peace. You know, some rains are strange. They fall suddenly, and the air softens, the earth breathes again, the trees seem to come alive. Humans are the same. After the tears fall, the heart softens, the voice becomes gentler, and light begins to find its way into the darker corners of the soul. Aries, you don't have to be strong all the time. No one was born to carry everything alone. Learn to open your hand. You can't move forward while you're still holding on. Let what's old drift away, like the final leaf of winter falling, making space for the first green of spring. If these words touch you, write down the name of someone you're ready to forgive. Not for them, but for you, because you deserve to breathe in the air of freedom again. Letting go isn't losing, it's creating space. And when the heart is finally empty, something miraculous happens. You start to hear the sound of life. It's small, maybe the wind brushing your skin, or a child's laughter down the street, but it makes you smile, because deep inside you realize you're coming back to life, little by little. And in that quiet space, between one breath and the next, you'll hear a sound so familiar, like an echo from long ago, a voice you forgot you once had. It's the voice of your soul, softly coming home. Sometimes the hardest thing in life isn't finding the answer, it's having the courage to sit still and listen. Between phone calls, messages, deadlines, endless conversations, the small, quiet voice inside you begins to fade. And one day you realize you no longer know what you truly want. You live by someone else's plan, by the endless shoulds and musts, and forget to ask the only question that really matters. What is my heart trying to say? Aries, you were born under the sign of action. You carry fire, fierce, passionate, unstoppable. But even fire must sometimes sit down to listen to the wind, the earth, and its own heartbeat. Only then will you know which direction to shine, not to burn, but to illuminate. In Buddhist wisdom, there's a state of awareness called mindfulness. It's when you stop chasing the noise of the world and return to the rhythm of your own breath. When the mind is still, you begin to hear the truest, clearest, and gentlest voice within. That voice doesn't command. It doesn't demand. It simply whispers, "This is your path." You're not lost. You're just too loud inside to hear yourself. Sometimes what you need isn't more advice, it's less noise. So sit down, turn everything off, close your eyes, ask quietly, what do I truly need? Then wait in stillness, because that voice doesn't come from the mind, it comes from the soul, and the soul always knows the way home. Someone once told me, we search for meaning in the noise, but the treasure is always hidden in the silence. I didn't understand until life placed me in a long, quiet season of my own. No people, no plans, no safety net, just silence. And in that silence, I heard a sound, small, soft, like water dripping into a deep well. It was my soul whispering, "Everything is all right, you just need to trust." From that moment, I stopped fearing silence. I began to love it because inside it, I found myself again. Aries, true strength isn't in the roar of willpower, but in the calm of someone who truly knows themselves. When you can hear your heart, the world's noise loses its power. You no longer need to argue to be right or run to be seen. You simply do because you know who you are. When was the last time you really heard your heart's voice? If you closed your eyes right now, what would your soul say? Write down just one word, a single word that describes what your heart longs to tell you. Maybe it's rest, maybe it's forgive, maybe it's begin again. Let that word become the key that unlocks the next door in your journey. And when you finally hear that voice, something beautiful will happen. You'll feel the light inside you return, not blinding, not rushed, but soft like dawn. It shines into the places that were dark, warms the spaces that had gone cold. And you'll understand that light was never gone. It was simply waiting for you to be quiet enough to realize that light was you all along. There are days when you suddenly realize the light inside you once dimmed and you never even noticed. You no longer feel joy in the mornings. Nothing seems big enough to move your heart anymore. Life starts to feel like a play you keep repeating, the same roles, the same lines, the same smile that no longer feels real. And then, one moment, in the rain, or in the soft sound of morning birds, a small ray of light slips quietly into your mind. It's not a grand revelation, not a promise from the heavens. Just a gentle feeling whispering, "I'm still here." That light didn't come from the outside. It came from within, from the part of you that's been silent for far too long. Aries, your light has never gone out. It simply stepped back, waiting for you to finish learning the lessons of darkness. Even Mars, your ruling planet, that eternal flame of drive and courage, sometimes pauses to become the sun, to warm instead of burn. I still remember one winter morning when the first sunlight touched my window. I sat quietly, a warm cup of tea resting in my hands. Nothing extraordinary happened, just peace. And for the first time in years, I felt the light inside me come back. Not blazing, not loud, just a soft warmth spreading slowly through my chest, whispering, "It's okay now." Maybe maturity is this, learning to turn your energy from reacting to radiating, from needing to prove, to simply being present, from burning to be seen, to shining in order to connect. True light doesn't shout. It doesn't need applause or attention. It only asks to exist, to breathe, to touch other hearts quietly in need of warmth. And you, Aries, are standing in that very moment when your fire begins to turn into light. You are no longer the flame that burns. You are the glow that heals. You are no longer fighting to win. You are walking to understand. You are no longer speaking to be heard. You are listening to connect. And in that change, there is a quiet beauty, a profoundly human grace. I used to think happiness meant achieving something, a dream, a person, a goal. Now I know. Happiness is when I make someone smile, when I say something that helps another soul breathe easier, when I can sit next to someone in silence and still feel like we're both walking through the darkness together. Aries, if you feel your light returning even a little, believe me, it's not an illusion. It's your soul, coming back to life after a long, sacred journey. Protect that light. Nurture it like a candle in the wind. Don't let anyone blow it out, not even you. If you're listening right now and something in your heart stirs, leave a little star, glowing star, to remind yourself that your light never left. You simply forgot how to see it. When the light returns, the world around you begins to change. What once felt heavy becomes lighter. What once felt far suddenly feels close, because when you carry light within your heart, every road becomes home. And in that brightness, something new begins to grow, a language beyond words, slow, deep, filled with love. It's not the language of logic, but of a heart that finally remembers how to be grateful. Because when your light returns, Aries, gratitude becomes your new language. There are days when it feels like you've lost everything. Faith, joy, the people you once loved, all of it dissolving into a thin fog of regret. You sit in silence looking back and you ask, why did this happen to me? That question, it's like a stone tied to your heart, pulling you deeper and deeper until you realize your pain isn't there to punish you. It's there to teach you one simple thing, gratitude. Aries, gratitude isn't something we're born with. It's born from the ashes of what once broke us. Only when you've walked through pain can you truly understand the value of a peaceful morning, a genuine smile, or someone who still chooses to stay. When the heart is calm, the whole world calms with it, because gratitude doesn't make you fight against life, it makes you walk with it. In the language of the universe, gratitude is the highest frequency. It lifts you from fear to peace, from scarcity to abundance. Every time you say thank you, you send a signal to the cosmos, I'm ready to receive more light. And the universe, in its quiet wisdom, always answers that signal, returning your light doubled, even tripled. I used to think gratitude was easy. Just say thank you. Just smile, but I was wrong. True gratitude is a journey, the journey of accepting that not everything goes the way you want, but everything carries meaning. When you thank the one who hurt you, you're choosing growth over bitterness. When you thank your challenges, you open the door to wisdom. Because gratitude doesn't change the past, it changes the meaning of it. You've been betrayed, you've lost, you've cried until your voice was gone. But now when you look back, you see that you've become stronger, wiser, and more capable of love. That's the miracle of gratitude. It turns betrayal into a teacher, pain into a lesson, and mistakes into the foundation of understanding. I've learned there is no darkness that doesn't carry a seed of light, and no suffering ever comes just to destroy you. It comes to shape you into someone deeper, kinder, more compassionate. When you start to see life through the eyes of gratitude, you stop asking, why me? And begin to say, thank you for choosing me to grow through this. Gratitude softens the heart and opens the way for miracles. You'll notice people showing up at just the right time. Opportunities you thought were gone start to return. Wounds you thought would never heal no longer hurt the same. Because when your heart shines, life mirrors that light back to you. If you're hearing these words right now, take just 1 minute, only one, to think of something you're grateful for today. Maybe it's a warm cup of coffee, a kind message, or simply the quiet rhythm of your own breath. Write it down. You never know, your simple thank you might be the light someone else needs. Gratitude is a small act, but it shifts the entire frequency of your life. It softens you. And when you soften, the world softens with you. In that stillness, you'll realize something profound. Peace has never been far away. It's always been right here, in the heart whispering thank you. And when gratitude overflows, Aries, peace is no longer something to seek. It becomes your new beginning. A beginning warm, gentle, and radiant, like sunlight after a long, long rain.